if you're looking for my reaction to that,
no,
this
I
is
just-
we have a function of claims. We pay the claims out. If we can find a way to reduce the amount of claims that we're paying and subcontract out the operations to do that, we kind of do that now. We hire Aetna to do that job for us and administer those claims. And so I don't know that we're not adding another park and rec department, but you maybe you have a point, and I'll have to think about that.
It's an expansion. I don't think it's quite socialism, but
Well, let me ask you. I know. Do you want to sit on this and think on this, and perhaps bring this up at the June 4th meeting for a potential vote? I would like. I am sold on this idea. I think this is a great opportunity for the town to save money and to get some healthcare savings as we move forward. I think the numbers are conservative and they show a substantial amount of savings to the town.
well, I would like to know what our initial upfront cost is going to be to get an on-site clinic, what the financial responsibility of this, and the ongoing maintenance of it. I think that there's quite a cost involved in taking that building, the former town garage, and making it suitable. And I would like to have some figures on that, and what that means, that what we displace as a result of that. So I would like a
And
little more
I
information
also
inside.
feel, because this is would be quite a departure for us, I would like the full board to have I would like Mark and Rob to have a chance to find out about this before we make any definitive decision.
It's been said. We don't need to elaborate.
Okay. So we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting and revisit it. Thank you. Any other final questions that we have?
No.
Okay. I
Just
know
one,
that-
no, sorry.
Go.
One quick one. I know a lot of emphasis is placed upon the, ongoing maintenance of chronic conditions. You're dealing with one of the hardest things to change, which is human behavior, whether you're dealing with diabetes, whether you're dealing with smoking cessation or weight management. What has been your track record can you look at your diabetic patients and say, we have reduced the A1Cs from 12 to 7? Obviously, those kind of metrics are very important. You have a history now, because that's where, as Paul said, that's where you're going to see the savings. Does this, in fact, work?
I absolutely love your question.
Great question.
It's a great question. One of, I think, the most dynamic features that sets this program apart is that there is a provider leading the wellness program.
Just move the microphone, Jess, over to you a little
Yep.
bit.
Is the provider leading the wellness initiative? There's a different type of accountability that goes on between patient and provider than goes on between employer and patient, between a case manager from a nurse line calling at 6 p.m. If that referral is coming from that patient's provider, 9 times out of 10, they're going to take that as serious. They're going to follow the specialty referral. They're going to follow the radiology or imaging recommendation, and they're going to follow the script. So we really put a lot of trust in that provider-patient relationship to drive those patients. Now, from their health risk assessment analysis, year over year, we're going to show trending. Are we actually moving the patient population? A big component of that, and I think it was touched on earlier by Mr. Siri with a program that he was accustomed to, is what type incentives and disincentives are we going to build around the clinic? Are we going to have incentives for folks participating in wellness initiatives? Are we going to have a mandatory HRA to participate in clinic services? Are we going to do premium differentials? And those are all things that we'll work through with you and help you design that meet your tolerances and your members' tolerances. And it might be a phased-in approach, but those types of incentives and disincentives have a great impact on the type of differences we're going to see in lab values. But we really put a lot of faith in that provider relationship to drive patients.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd like to add one thing to that that's important. It's a very high-touch program. So in the process, there are a lot of people helping guide the patient through, which you don't see very often in wellness programs.
But yeah, I don't think you've. What improvements have you seen? And obviously, no group is typical. No business is typical. But are you seeing the trends going in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so, if we look at metrics across, I mean, it's hard to kind of pinpoint any exact one, and they all do differ. But as you've noticed from that sample client that I put up on the board, $15 million in savings, that $15 million did not come from just moving office visits from the marketplace into the clinic. Where that $15 million came is from identifying chronic patients in the first year through the HRA process, and then moving them into wellness programs and actually moving their chronic risk from high to moderate to low. In fact, we were the only clinic vendor recognized by Healthcare 21, it's a data analytic company with national clients, as being able to move patients from high risk to moderate risk to low risk. And we're looking at 30 different metrics in the HRA, so I can't rattle off, what savings is on each one, but I think that speaks volumes that we were recognized as the only clinic provider being able to move patients from high risk to a low risk category.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Final thoughts? Thank you very much. Appreciate
you
the
all.
opportunity to come down here, and we'll put this on the next agenda for further discussion. If you have any information that you can send electronically,
Absolutely.
that we'll have, we'll be able to share that with the team.
And I would love to see, sorry to interrupt, Paul, I obviously you've got to honor client confidentiality, but if there were an organization similar in size to ours where you've been providing over a period of time some of those metrics,
Yeah, and what I'd like to leave with you today, and I'll certainly email it, I think you'll find this valuable. Inside of this packet are some of our case studies where we speak directly to biometric measurements, that you'll see some savings, in there too. And I'll certainly email all of these to folks as well, but
Okay.
I'll leave a hard copy, with
Okay.
you all today.
Thank you.
Thank
Could
you.
you also tell
Thank you
us
very much.
where your base of operations is?
So we are headquartered in Brentwood, Tennessee, which is right outside of Nashville, 15 minutes or so. So Music City.
And do you have branch offices?
So we have 163 clinics across the country. We have a hub in Denver as our western hub. And then most all of our medical doctors, our DCOs, treat the clinic location as their office location because they're there working with patients and our clients so much. So those, I guess, are our offices across the country, our clinic locations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank
Okay,
you so much.
Appreciate it. Do you need to take a minute to readjust papers, or
Nope, I'm all set.
we're good?
We made everybody else wait, so.
Yep, I understand. Got all your stuff?
You're lazy.
Thank you.
Thank-
Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you. Okay, thank you all for your patience. As we move to the next item on the agenda is resolution authorizing first selectman to sign all grant applications. This somehow has gotten into a fiscal year program, and it allows me to sign in general any grants that come forward that do not require any special language particular to the grant. And we've had a half a dozen or so where we've been able to use this, so.
Okay. Make the resolution authorizing the first selectman to sign all grant applications for 2014 and 2015. Move the following resolution. Resolve that Paul M. Formica, first selectman of the town of East Lyme, Connecticut, is hereby authorized and directed to sign all grant applications and execute and deliver any and all documents on behalf of the town of East Lyme for fiscal year 2014, 2015, and to do and perform all acts and things which he deems necessary or appropriate to carry out the terms of such documents, including but not limited to executing and delivering all applications contemplated by such documents.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next item, resolution authorizing the first selectman to file application to State Historic Preservation Office of Connecticut DECD for financial assistance up to $20,000, and if approved, to enter and execute the grant contract and preservation restriction regarding the Samuel Smith
No,
House.
that last part we don't need.
Oh, we don't need that. If approved, okay, right.
Yeah.
We took that off.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. I forgot about that.
So
I-
where are we ending it?
We're ending it, I think, at the 20,000. Is that correct?
It's $20,000, and then it moves on to the end of the paragraph for the Samuel.
Would
Yeah,
you
but
speak
she-
into the microphone,
yeah.
please?
I'm sorry.
So the agenda item
It
is,
just ends at the 20,000.
It stops at the 20,000 and then picks up again in the final paragraph because the grant is
Yeah.
for
But
the
we
Sam.
don't, Tracy, we don't have that on the agenda. We're just referring to
Oh,
what
I'm
the
sorry.
agenda says. No,
Okay.
yeah, it ends at the 20,000.
It ends at the 20,000.
So I would like to move the following resolution.
please.
Resolved that the first selectman, Paul M. Formica, is authorized and directed to file an application on forms prescribed by the State Historic Preservation Office of the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development for financial assistance in accordance with the provisions of Connecticut General Statute Section 10-392 and Connecticut General Statute Section 10-411 of the Connecticut General Assembly in an amount not to exceed $20,000 for the Samuel Smith Reconnaissance Survey CLG supplemental grant.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is to authorize the first selectman to sign the Clean Energy Communities Municipal Pledge. Does everybody get a copy in your?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Mr. Kasperzak is here. You gonna want to speak to this?
I will turn it over to my colleague Diana McCarthy for Cory.
Thank you.
Okay.
Where would you prefer?
You may sit here or stand there,
Oh, I'll
whichever you
stand
prefer.
up and sit anywhere.
Okay.
What a very interesting discussion. Good evening. My name is Diana McCarthy Bercury. I have the privilege of working with 149 cities and towns in Connecticut on this program, and hopefully East Lyme will be recommitting. You joined the original program, which was called 20% by 2010, and that was really focused on helping to educate towns on how they can use renewable energy and how they can promote that throughout the community. That program ended in 2010, as its name stated, and in 2012 we rolled out a new program called Clean Energy Communities, and I sort of refer to it as the 2.0. Now, in addition to helping towns take advantage of renewable energy programs and incentives, we are trying to help communities learn all about the Energy Efficiency Fund programs. So we have a wonderful programs in the state of Connecticut for residents, for businesses, and for municipalities. And Clean Energy Communities is really just a great way for you to market, create awareness, and let us help support your outreach to your population. The first step to becoming a clean energy community is hopefully what we're going to take tonight, and that is signing the pledge saying we commit to making a 20% energy reduction in our municipal buildings by 2018. The pledge is not a legally binding agreement, although we hope you can make that energy reduction. There's a lot of hand-holding and support along the way to 2018 to help you make that energy reduction. And the benefit to you is that you drop how much energy you're using every year, and that'll hopefully save you some dollars. In addition to that, we have a little bonus track that we like to sort of incentivize the towns to get involved and their residents and businesses. We've been tracking your participation ever since 2010 for the Energy Efficiency Fund programs. I don't know if anybody on the board has ever had home energy solutions done at their house. The Energy Audit and Weatherization Program, Connecticut's best kept secret. Get it done. You pay into it every month on your electric or natural gas bill. We have 30 authorized vendors in the state of Connecticut. All of them are certified, background checked, and Building Professional Institute qualified. But this is just one of the great programs. There's a small copay. You get about $1,000 worth of work done on your home in a 4 to 6 hour appointment, and hopefully that appointment, all that work and improvements that they do in your home will help you save an average of $300 every year on your energy costs, and that's heating, fuel, and electricity. And there's a significant amount of measures that they do in your home during that appointment, and I won't bore anybody because we've been here for quite some time. I don't want to go into details, but we have tons of flyers. You can learn about it. And these are your programs. So we track all the town's participation in all of our programs, whether it's this residential one or something similar we have for small businesses or another one for municipalities and school buildings. And as I mentioned, we've been tracking your participation since 2010, and we actually award points to the town. So for every percentage of the population that participates in one of these energy-saving programs, we will award the town of East Lyme points. And as soon as you earn 100 points, you can cash that in for a $10,000 Bright Idea grant. The only rule with that grant is that you have to spend it on a project that's going to save the town energy and money. So that's really the only rule for it. If you were looking to do a beautiful lighting improvement project here in your chamber, you could use those grant dollars that way. Or if you wanted to buy 10,000 LED light bulbs and pass them out to all the homeowners in town, you could do that as well. So the only rule is that you have to spend those dollars on an energy-saving project or program in town. You can earn up to 2 grants per fiscal year, going all the way out to 2018. And just, I believe all of you have the PowerPoint, but there's a case study on there that you can talk about it. We've had 624 homes in East Lyme go through this Home Energy Solutions program, which is about 9% of your town. So if you haven't done it, do it. We've had, out of those homes, 111 homes have actually cashed in a rebate to do a deeper measure. So after you complete your service, the technicians will talk to you about how you can improve your home even further beyond the $75 or $99 copay. They'll say, oh, Madam Selectman, we went to your house and we know you need more insulation. You must be freezing in the wintertime, burning the oil. And I have no idea what your home is like, but from your nodding, yes, I'm assuming I know what the housing stock is like in Connecticut. So they would say, all right, well, within 4 months, if you decide you want to go forward with insulation, here's a rebate. Get your insulation done, by a local vendor, up to these qualifications. Mail this into CLMP, and we'll send you back your rebate, which is 50% of the overall cost, up to $1 per square foot. So they're pretty impressive incentives that you have available. If you need a new refrigerator, dehumidifier, air conditioning unit, there's so many appliances. If you want to get geothermal, heat pumps, whatever you're looking to do to make your home more energy efficient, there'll be a rebate for that, and you'll learn about it during that service. So you've had 111 homes in the community go through and cash in those rebates for deeper measures, which is fantastic, helping them save even more money, even more energy, and making their home more comfortable year-round and in a better, safe and healthier for their family. And then we look at all the business and commercial accounts that we have in the town here. There's about 850 of them. And you've had 56 of those buildings go through energy improvement projects, which is fantastic. And there's wonderful incentives there that are available for commercial businesses or municipalities. So I always say, I said to the first selectman the other day, the next time you're thinking about doing a improvement project in any of your businesses or any of your buildings, call Tom first to make sure you get a CLMP engineer out here to walk you through and let you know every improvement project you're doing in one of these buildings. If it's going to save you energy and it's going to save you heating fuel, the chances are we can incentivize it and pick up a portion of that tab with these energy efficiency fund dollars. So adding all those projects that have been completed in town and determining how many points we award, the town has actually earned already 86 points towards its first $10,000 Bright Idea grant. So we're hoping within the next year or so we can help get the town of East Lyme a little further along. Hopefully we can create some awareness within the community to talk about these wonderful programs, because these are your programs. You pay for them every month on your electric and natural gas bills. And you should really take advantage of those dollars to save you some money and make your home or business more comfortable and more energy efficient. So that is sort of that's the carrot at the end of the stick. Of course, we are really looking for the town to make that commitment, that 20% energy reduction, to lead by example and say, we are encouraging our residents and businesses to take advantage of these programs, but we're doing it too. And there's a lot of support that's available. We have a wonderful benchmarking program that we can help get East Lyme enrolled into, and there's no charge for that. We have a wonderful energy consulting firm that will come out, work with your facilities managers, your Department of Finance, your selectmen, and your Board of Ed to make sure that your buildings are running at as high efficiency as they can, which means they're using as little energy as possible and are very healthy and comfortable all year round. So really look forward to working together. Again, if you don't accomplish the goals, no harm, no foul. Hopefully we get a little closer to that 20% by 2018. And we're here really just to help educate your community on all the wonderful programs and hopefully improve the building stock here in East Lyme.
Okay, any comments or questions?
Yes.
Ms. Harding?
You mentioned 110 homes have already taken advantage of this. And in the fiscal year 2013-14, the goal would be an 8% reduction. So could you translate what percentage reduction the 110 homes would equal? And
That's a great question. So first, the reduction schedule is sort of more like guidelines. We're pretty flexible. It doesn't matter how we get from point A to point B as long as we get that 20%. And when we're talking about the energy reduction that the town is committing to, we're talking just about the municipal building stock. So your town hall, your fire department, your police station, library, just municipal-owned buildings.
all right. But to figure out what would have to happen to make the 8% mark or the 11% mark, I mean, how?
Sure, and I will just speculate here because I have not evaluated your buildings. So I can give you a sense just by looking at your lights. It looks like they could be improved a little bit. I'm assuming these are not LED technology. But generally, when you upgrade your lights, you can save about 15% of your electric expense.
Okay.
So just to give you a sense, that's what we call the low-hanging fruit. Another great thing you can do in your buildings are occupancy sensors that not only determine whether somebody's in the room based on movement, but based on the heat that your body is giving off. And so they know, all right, definitely somebody's in here, even though they're not moving. We're not going to turn off the lights. And so great occupancy sensors are something that low cost and can have tremendous savings for you over and over and over again.
Okay. Now, what is it that's needed for documentation?
Great question. So I believe when we were talking to your facilities director, he said something about you using Facilities Dude, correct? Facilities Dude is another type of monitoring software. The one that we are sort of recommending, but you don't have to use, is through the EPA, and it's called Portfolio Manager. And that's something that homes, businesses, schools, anybody can use for free. It does take a little while to enter in the data and evaluate what are the hours of operation in each of the buildings. But if you already have that going in Facilities Dude, then we accept that as well. So that can be as simple as your facilities director, your director of public works, running off a report saying, okay, we as a town have selected a baseline year of 2009-2010 fiscal year. And from here, that year, we want to make our 20% energy reduction. And if he's been entering in that data all the years move afterwards, and we've done energy improvement projects, we will be able to see that right away. And what we're actually doing is we're looking at, we're normalizing all of your energy use into one energy type. So we take your electricity, your oil, your propane, your natural gas, and all the different forms that they come in. And we say we're going to just measure everything into MMBTUs, which is an energy type. It's like the smallest unit. And we look at how many MMBTUs are used per square foot of the buildings. So we can actually determine an energy rating for all of your buildings. We can say this rating, your town hall is 70, but your library is, a 100. It's running super efficiently throughout the year. And that's really what we're trying to help you do, is understand how efficiently your buildings are running. So to answer your question, yes, we'll accept it in any form that you have, or if you have an energy task force already established in town, a commission, we can work one-on-one with them to make sure that they get trained in that. And if you're interested in the benchmarking pilot program, the towns that are enrolled in that, which will come out at the end of June, and there'll be 25 towns accepted into that. We've just completed our first pilot of that. And towns will have a project manager and coordinator and intern that will be helping them pull the information, any CLMP information from Tom, aggregate, collect all of your information, and help them enter that into Portfolio Manager if you so choose.
Now, it also states that it would be acceptable to submit a pre-existing municipal energy plan. Do we have one of those, Mr. Formica?
We do. We're monitoring it on Facilities Dude in terms of you know, what we're doing. We have solar programs going on a lot of our buildings, so we're doing a lot of that work, and Joe is really getting into the meat and potatoes of all that.
So your municipal action plan is really your guideline, it's your roadmap going all the way out to 2018. So if you have something that you can already build off of, and we can say, all right, let's get the buildings evaluated at no charge to determine what energy projects can be completed, and what are their potential savings, we can just add right to whatever plan you have in place. That way, if you have a renewable side, if you have a renewable energy side, and you have something saying, all right, well, we know there's 10 projects left that we have to go, and here's the plan for each year, what we're going to complete at any given time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sear?
All set.
Just getting back to Ms. Hardy's question, that each town of East Lyme pledges to create its own municipal action plan, and Ms. Hardy often asks, existing employee time that would be needed to draw up if we do not have our municipal action plan?
Well, we have the maintenance, building maintenance headed by Joe Bergoa and Ron Bentz. They monitor that. We keep track of it in the finance office and all that.
I know you're
So
keeping,
that's-
but this appears to me to be a plan going forward, i.e. setting goals, this is what we're going to do each year. Do we have such a plan?
Well, we simply print out what we have and then project the 20% and then work with Diana about
On
what
how
we're gonna
figuring
do.
out how to implement it?
Well, she made a comment about lights, and they would come in and evaluate the building. So what we do is establish the baseline. They come in, monitor the buildings as part of the program.
So
and
each
then
year,
the
we're gonna
plan is
convert
then
20% of the
instituted.
lighting to LED or something like that. That would be the kind of thing you would be looking for.
Exactly. And if you feel like you don't really have the staff, you know, just with all these free hours during the day, I really recommend that you consider joining our 25 town benchmarking program. So in addition to having people come out, evaluate your buildings, helping you aggregate that data into whichever software you prefer, at the end of that, an energy engineer will help put together this municipal action plan for you. And say, these were the recommendations we found when we walked through your buildings, and after talking with the CL&P energy engineers, we've come together to say, you're trying to strive for that 20%, or maybe you want to go further, 30% goal by 2018. Here's a plan of how you can get there. And then the town can add, deduct, take it or leave it, or use it if they'd like.
The town agrees to provide documentation with the municipal building energy consumption on an annual basis. To provide to whom?
To us,
To
to
us.
the myself and the rest of the Clean Energy Communities team. I should let you know that there's a grace period through 2015, so we want to make sure that you get your ducks in a row, you get your feet underneath you, you're getting used to how the program works, and if you have, do you have an energy task force or some sort of body that, some commission in town that takes a strong interest into energy efficiency or conservation measures? We could work with somebody like that, or we could help you establish a volunteer committee within the town. To take on that work. But to submit those reports, if you already have Facilities Dude, which is a funny name, but it really is a great software program. It takes maybe 3 minutes to run a report on all of your buildings, and that would be something you could just email right off to us, and it would say, here's how much we were using on day one. 3 years later, this is how much we're using. And it gives us a clear picture of how much energy you've saved.
And what happens to that data? It's just for your use?
It's just for our use, yep. We can destroy it afterwards if you're worried about it, or, you know, if you want us
It
to
helps,
use it as the
doesn't-
poster child, we can.
Doesn't it help to determine the amount of rewards that we get? That's why we provide you the data to measure
Yeah,
how much
so,
we're savings and all of that, so.
right, so the guidelines, the idea is that we want all the towns to make a 20% energy reduction from their baseline year. And, you know, the tracking system every year is really just to make sure that things are moving along smoothly, so that, you know, you're going through the process and it's working for you. If we go out tomorrow and we evaluate a building and come up with a strategy to reduce 20% of the energy consumption, you know, in just one building, then that could cover all of your energy commitments, and then the reporting mechanism would be moot at that point.
Okay. And all of this says this is not binding, this is not a legal, in effect, document. There are no punitive measures involved if we don't meet it. As the town of East Lyme pledges, purchase 20% of the municipal building energy from clean renewable energy sources by 2018. We've seen what's been going on with the solar farm up there, and there may be some hesitation about that. And my understanding is we're already getting 45% of our energy from clean renewable energy through Millstone. So anyway, yes, not a contract. Okay, I don't have no further questions.
Any further questions?
I believe that we purchase our electricity from more than one source. I believe that some of our electricity we purchase from Canada.
TransCanada?
Yes.
TransCanada is the electric supplier.
And is that on your list of clean, renewable energy
So
from their source?
the clean renewable energy requirement basically states that it is a class 1 renewable energy. So if you were talking wind or hydro or solar and even landfill gas qualifies for that. Depending on what your contract is with TransCanada, maybe you've already asked them to cover a portion of it from one of those source types. And as long as the town is retaining the renewable energy credit for that energy, then you would already hit that qualification. Now, I do believe you are working on the Solarize program right now, and you're working with Robert Schmidt from Cephia. And those are our partners in this program, Clean Energy Communities, and Robert handles the renewable energy side of the house. So any of those requirements, the renewable energy purchase, that would be something that you could ask him about. You can get more answers from him. And I believe East Lyme was already part of the original program, so if you didn't already build in a mechanism for that renewable energy purchase, which has like an incremental increase every year going out, I would be surprised. But you would know best.
Now I lost my other question. It's 9:15. It left my head. So are we saying that we know that TransCanada can provide the specifications for this?
What we're saying is that we have TransCanada as an energy supplier. I couldn't tell you without looking at the contract how much of the energy that they supply is renewable. I don't know if hydroelectric qualifies as renewable.
You would have to look at the
So
the contract that you have with
We'd
them.
have to see, but the fact of the matter is we've signed a pledge similar to this back in
2005 or 6, I think you joined.
And so
original
this is something that we've been participating with. It's a non-binding thing. It's just looking for ways. For example, we're putting a new roof on this building.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps solar would be part of that, as we put solar on the probate court, on the hole-in-the-wall building, on the school, on any of those buildings that we can. That might go a long way to helping us with that. And I think the lights will be a big thing. So we can certainly check the TransCanada thing, but I don't know that should be a deal breaker on this.
And there's other things you can do to actually substitute in for that renewable energy purchase. So the Solarize program, there's a CPACE program, which stands for Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy, which is a finance mechanism for anybody who wants to move forward with efficiency or renewable energy projects. That's just one that's administered by Robert's group again, Cephia. So there's a few different options. If you've already signed up for Solarize, that counts for 10% of your renewable energy purchase every year moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
More questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll move that we authorize the first selectman to sign Clean Energy Communities Municipal Pledge. Move to authorize the first selectman to sign the Clean Energy Communities Municipal Pledge as attached.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Hardy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your patience as well this evening. The next item is a budget transfer contingency for heating oil and propane costs. We have mentioned to you in past meetings that this would be coming. This is coming out of a contingency, I believe. Let's see if I have the... and we came up short with regard to the fuel oil and the propane costs, so we're asking for a transfer to cover that.
Okay, I'll move to approve a transfer in the amount of $44,000 from account 0101-120-200-500 contingency to account 0101-113-400-213 heating oil, propane due
Thank
to the colder than normal winter months, and forward to the Board of Finance for approval.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a budget transfer of $493, also from contingency to cover the ACO costs, which is the animal control officer. That was just a function of mathematics that we pay half of the animal control officer's